Good morning, and welcome to Lesson 32 and the concluding lesson of our study of the book of Ecclesiastes. Before I get into this brief passage, I'd like just to mention the references that I've used throughout the study. The primary ones have been the David Jeremiah Study Bible and his book, Searching for Heaven on Earth, which has been a book of the study of Ecclesiastes and the outline of which I've followed throughout this course. Those are the two main references, but other than that, we've used Matthew Henry's commentaries. I've used Barnes's notes. I've used a book called Straight to the Heart of Solomon by Phil Harris. I've used the Zondervan Pictorial Encyclopedia. I've also used the book of the Ante-Nicene Fathers, Volume 6, on a Gregory Thaumaturg, who had wrote a metaphrase of the book of Ecclesiastes in about the year 2000 or 200 to 250 AD. I've used David Guzak's commentaries and Chuck Smith's C2000 commentaries from the Blue Letter Bible, and also from Bible Hub. I've used Clark's commentary, Ellicott's commentary, and Benson's commentary. And those have essentially been the ones that I've used in order to do the study. But the primary one was the book called Searching for Heaven on Earth by David Jeremiah. So we've gone through Solomon's life essentially in this book. A man who believed in God initially, then who lost his faith in God as he got into pagan worship, pagan gods and pagan wives, and who had his kingdom it was told to him that his kingdom would be destroyed after he died by God. So Solomon's looking back over all that he did and all that he accomplished, and it was a great deal. Back in chapter 2, he told us this. He said, I made my works great. I built myself houses and planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants and had servants born in my house. I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and the special treasures of kings and of the provinces. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. So I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem, and my wisdom remained with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor. But then I looked in all the works that my hands had done, and on the labor in which I had toiled. And indeed, all was vanity and grasping for the wind. No satisfaction in anything in the end of his life. So this was Solomon's life, what he had done. He had accomplished more than any of us ever will even dream of doing. And he says everything that he did for himself was vanity, in the end meaningless and without real comfort. So then he now has drawn his four conclusions from his life and from his search for the meaning of life. We've covered three of these. The first, he said that life was uncertain. Expect it, prepare for it, embrace that fact that life is uncertain. Things can change without warning at any time for any of us. So be prepared for it and expect it, embrace it, and prepare for it. Life is uncertain. And then he said life is short. Enjoy it. Make the most of the days that you have, because life, regardless of how long it seems to be when you're young, it is really short. And that's what he said in the first part and the last part of chapter 11. He said, "Rejoice, O young men, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart, and in the sight of your eyes." What your heart wants, what your eyes see that you want, try to do, try to accomplish, try to achieve. But he also has a warning. "But know that for all these, God will bring you into judgment." So make sure that what your heart desires and what your eyes see are actually good things. And this is what he did at the very start of his life. He built all of his gardens, his palaces, his homes. He had all his servants, he had all the possessions, he had everything that he wanted. But he also realized that what his heart desired in that respect was all in the end vanity. So he said, life is uncertain, expect it. Life is short, embrace it and enjoy it while you can. Then he said, life is mysterious, explore it, investigate it. Try to find out as much as you can about it. You'll never find out everything, but try to do what you can, because this is what makes life interesting, is understanding and exploring what God has given us to explore. Life is mysterious. Explore it. And now he's saying the last lesson of his 4 is that life is really, really meant to be obedient, and that we are to express it. Life is meant to be obedient, and we are to express it. Look at the last 2 verses of chapter 12. "Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is man's all." Solomon's conclusion is that man's entire being is meant to be service to God, to fear God and to keep his commandments. It says in Proverbs that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. In Job 28, verse 28, it says, "And to man he," God said, "Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding." What does it mean to fear the Lord? Some Bibles apparently say, love the Lord and keep his commandments, and that certainly is true. Some people say that fear the Lord means to respect the Lord, and that also is true. If you love the Lord, you respect him. So loving the Lord and respecting the Lord essentially does imply that you fear the Lord, that you understand the nature of God. But there is certainly an element that goes beyond this. Fear of something, of some being, of a spirit which is so powerful, so vast, so immense, so all-knowing, has to go just beyond a little bit of respect and love, because even people who respect and love others sometimes get slack in what they do. But fear is a little bit more than that. Fear is an actual awareness of the immense power that this spirit has, that God has. The immense power over you, over this world, over this universe. And that should apply a little bit of holy fear in all of us. Fear the Lord. The Bible says to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. There's a little bit more than just respect, a little bit more awareness than just understanding and love. Although if you really love the Lord, you have very little to fear. Fear is really meant for those who have rejected God, who don't respect him, who don't really try to follow his commandments. That is the person who should really fear the Lord. What are the commandments of God? How do you respect God? How do you keep his commandments? It says the commandments really are summarized now in the New Testament in 2 places. It says in Matthew 22, it says this: Jesus said to them, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and all the prophets. This is the commandment that God wants. It says the same in Mark. It's the same in Mark. If you go over to that verse, verse 29 in chapter 12. Jesus answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment, and the second is like this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Fear the Lord and keep his commandments. Walk in his ways. This is what Solomon is saying. This is the due and the whole being of man. Why is this so much? Look at the next verse. The next verse in Ecclesiastes, verse chapter 12, is this. 4. God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whatever good or evil. The Bible states very clearly that we are going to be judged at some time in the future on what we do in this world. Not only what we do, but how we act, how we think, how we behave, how we feel. Revelation 14:7 states, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of the judgment has come. Worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water. We are to be worshipped on our deeds and on what we do. How do we know this? How can we say this, that we are going to be judged in everything, that God's going to know every secret thing, other than the fact that God is omnipotent? Why do we say this? It's interesting because even science has shown us. Walter Penfield, back in the Montreal Neurological Institute, did experiments years ago in which he put probes into the brains of people who were awake. It sounds kind of gruesome, but it can be done very easily for people who know how. And what he showed, was that it could evoke memories, it could evoke stimulate areas of the cerebral cortex in unanesthetized patients is what he did. It can return. This would result in vivid immediacy of memories, complete with sounds, smells, and emotional components of the original event. So our brain acts like a computer which soaks up everything that we do, everything that we experience, everything that we think, all our dreams, everything. And it's all stored there. It's said that people who died have sometimes, and have come back, been resuscitated, have had their whole life flash before their eyes. This is not something which is impossible, because the mind has all our experiences locked in it, controlled and stored, that it can be sometimes replayed. And Walter Penfield, in doing this experiment, showed that this is possible. So, he says, God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, good or evil. Jesus said in John 10:10 that I have come that you may have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. So if we have faith in him and do the commandments of God, we will have life and have it more abundantly. In Romans 2:16 it says, "In the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel." Another reference to God knowing everything that we have. So Solomon's great conclusion is, of all things, fear, respect, love God, and keep his commandments, because he will judge everything, both secret and revealed, good and evil, in the future. Everything will be judged. There is coming for a time when man will die once, and then there's judgment. And as Hebrews 10:30-31 puts it, the Lord will judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Fear God and keep his commandments. That is the essence and the meaning of life, according to Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived. And that is the end of the study. I thank you for watching. If you've endured through the entire 32 chapters, I thank you for it. Next week, I hope we'll start another study on the book of Esther. I hope you'll join me for that as well. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.